The gimmick of Skylanders was a novel one. You put the thing on the thing and boom, in the game. It was definitely a cash grab, but hey dude, have you ever heard of fun? And I mean, look at microtransactions in kids games today. You don't even get packaging you throw out in Fortnite and Roblox.
I am not the guy to be making this argument. Is that a bird pickaxe and a bird black bling and a bird shoes?
Yes. Are you saying it's bad?
In the beginning of Toys to Life, there was one. UB Funkies. Trying to integrate toys into games was a challenge and goal for a long time. Skylanders was just the game that perfected it, taking advantage of all the advancements in both the technology and the approach to the idea. But after Skylanders finally nailed the formula, the floodgates opened and the real sharks showed themselves. Disney Infinity with the biggest media juggernauts. Then Amiibo with the most famous video games. Then comes LEGO Dimensions with, you guessed it, the most popular toy line. Also these two, but they were late to the party and they work really differently, so... Activision's no lightweight, but on paper, these three should have obliterated Skylanders, a brand new IP surrounded by legacy IPs. They did have the benefit of being first, but there's something else that I think some people who worked on Skylanders understood. Sentimentality. Sentimentality's obviously not something you can hold in your hands like Gilgrunt, but it's what separates him from a cheap chunk of plastic that resembles a fish man. And even though we do know it is just that, subconsciously,
it's still real to me, damn it!
So how do you make people sentimental for a chunk of landfill? Personalize it, choose a path for unique gameplay, give him a hat. Expressing yourself in small ways through your Skylander already sets it leagues apart from what you saw on the store shelves. It's already gone from a Skylander to your Skylander. This is also why I think trinkets were an amazing feature. You can customize other parts of their body than just their head. And then they got cut instantly. So individuality is a big factor in making you care about Jawbreaker, but you know what else is? Investment. Every upgrade you get, level up, finding their soul gem. By just playing the game, you're putting more time and work into the Skylander, which builds more of a connection. Another axed feature, heroic challenges, is a great way of getting you to put even more into a Skylander. The last, but probably most important method Skylanders uses to build a connection is to suck you into their world. If you believe in something, then you're more likely to care about it. Pretty much every video game more aesthetically interesting than Pong will try to immerse you in some form. But even the ads and story for Skylanders tore down the fourth wall to integrate your world into theirs. The Skylanders always got frozen and shrunken into little figure forms sent to Earth, be it volcanoes, explosions, or robot curses. You don't even just play as the Skylanders, you are the commander of the Skylanders. You control them because that's your job as the Portal Master. The scanning device has plot significance. They even came up for an explanation for why in Superchargers you need cars since they make wormholes and, well...
Now that I control the portals, I am cutting you off from Skylands. For good!
Even the game's original art style is based off of tabletop games like D&D and Warhammer, all about establishing the suspense of disbelief and immersion for plastic figures and the like. So while the designs are silly, there's enough detail and cool factor to ignore that and just believe they could exist in another world. Okay, that last one went on a bit long, but these are the three main components Skylanders uses to get you to care about figures. Individuality, investment, and immersion. Okay, so now that you've received the Sentimentality lore drop, how did the other three games fare? First up, Disney Infinity. While Skylanders has a agreeably detailed style that complements immersion, Infinity has a clean, almost corporate look that does the polar opposite. It looks fine, but it's a tall task to immerse yourself in something that looks so sterile. You can see it a lot in the early figures too, with these simple blocky bodies and a plasticky look even in the art.
The thing with the toy box was always, oh, this isn't Iron Man. This is a toy of Iron Man, said the source, which gave us a lot more liberty in terms of approvals and all that stuff.
I just don't believe this is Sully from Monsters Inc., unlike Chop Chop over here because of the art style and detailing. The biggest example of this is the portal. It's the bridge between this and this, so it's pretty important. Skylanders got this awesome, cool, epic D&D runic castle looking thing, looks like it belongs on a D&D set piece dungeon map. White slab. This just makes the figure seem non-important. That's probably the last thing you'd want to do if you want to build Sentimentality, or even just sell the figures. They de-emphasize them more by locking them to their own worlds. Imagine you're taking a liking to Pop Fizz, and then suddenly you can't play as him anymore because you're in a fire-only stage. That sounds like what elemental gates are, but you can instantly swap back to the Skylander you were playing as even if they're not in the right element and explore it anyways, or just ignore them entirely. They're not a massive chunk of the content. Next up, LEGO Dimensions. Infinity also had this issue, but there's next to no customization for the characters themselves. The builds do have some really good customization, like alt builds with new abilities and skins referencing things from their franchises, but those aren't really characters or personalities to get attached to, usually. The characters operate like any other TT LEGO game, so identical excluding their powers, which is the core of LEGO gameplay. And applying the pre-existing formula onto another pre-existing formula is kind of the issue here. Sure, Skylanders have elemental gates and special abilities, but the main appeal is usually the moveset, design, and personality. You buy Free Ranger to access spin zones, but you keep playing him for his cool tornado move that messes with enemies. Dimensions gameplay is mostly stuff like swap zones or elemental gates. That's not bad, it just means it's more utility over playstyle. It's hard to have gameplay preferences when your characters are just keys to a puzzle. Finally, Amiibo. At the start with Smash 4, they clearly understood the sentimentality aspect. When it comes to believability, most Amiibos had tons of detailing with almost 1-to-1 proportions, so there's no holdup in believing this was this, especially since they're based off of trophies which existed long before. Training up your own fighter who copies your moves and playstyle is not only really cool, but further than even Skylanders took individuality and investment. Yeah, I can't really teach Trap Shadow to do taunts after kills like I can with Greninja. In Smash 4, you could give them custom moves, and in Ultimate, spirits, giving tons of individuality. But outside of Smash Bros, most Wii U era Amiibos had tons of small uses in different games. Mario Maker, Yoshi's Woolly World, Mario vs. Donkey Kong, crappy limited time demos for 20-year-old games, the Pikmin game no one likes. In the Switch era, they kept pumping out Amiibos, but they usually only worked for their single game and they didn't do a whole lot either. So while they looked better than ever in the Switch era, they kinda just became physical DLC. DLC that can be scalped and have shortages. All of these things are kinda physical DLC, but Amiibo's just giving away the game here.
Oh yeah, sure, it's optional. Oh, okay. Yeah, sure, if you don't care about seeing the true ending.
So while Amiibos are still around now, they don't even really have any sentimentality to them at all. All three of these have different issues that impedes connecting with them, but there's an overarching issue with all three of these, and that's the main way they diverge from Skylanders. They use popular pre-existing characters. In other series, you just have figures of characters you've seen before, like having a figure of Venom. It's just that, a figure of Venom. Unlike Skylanders, where you just accept that this is Whamshell, because you've never seen him anywhere else before. The real crap himself is in your hands. Your sweaty, clammy, unhygienic hands. You might be thinking that Sentimentality and its co-conspirators are all irrelevant now since the last game came out 9 years ago. We're pretty much all adults. Well, if you heard the term Skylanders with no context, what character jumps to the front of your mind? It was probably one of these. Most Skylander fans' goats are characters they played a lot and got connected to as a kid. Rarely it's because the gameplay is the funnest or objective qualities. They formed a nostalgic connection, and you just don't see that with fans of the rival games. Skylander fans just grow much more attached to their favorite characters, their designs, their moves, their personalities. So sure, Activision isn't making any more bread off of evoking emotions from plastic right now, but the memories persist, and it's left a mark on the people who grew out of it. But there's one franchise that's king of getting that sentimental connection from the masses, Pokemon. If you go back in the video and apply all my arguments for Skylanders to Pokemon, you'll find they all still hold true, even without the Toys to Life aspect. Of course, building a sentimental connection is the main focus of Pokemon, the biggest monster ensemble franchise which Skylanders is also a part of, but it's also a huge focus of the old biggest Toys to Life game, Webkins. You customize your Webkin's look and living space to make them special. Play games with your Webkin to build investment. There's no media franchise or pre-existing character stopping you from imagining your Webkin as whatever personality of animal plushie you could have. It's also just a regular plushie, which lends itself to kids playing with it much more than. If there's any series Activision's marketing team analyzed during the development of Skylanders, I'm 114% sure these two are at the top of the list. The reason these three lacked sentimental components is because they just followed what Skylanders & Co. were doing, without figuring out the why and why this specific combination of things made Toys to Life the biggest it's ever been. Does someone's inability to connect to LEGO Knight Rider make these bad games or figures? Obviously not. But this is why there's still a, not massive, but strong fanbase around Skylanders 9 years later. With art, remixes, memes, video essays, mid-video essays, copium, mods, and so much more. They even got Skylanders Funky Pops now. Thanks for watching. I don't dislike any of the games I looked at in this video. I was just like looking at this through a specific lens to see why Skylanders was more fondly remembered than the other games. Thanks to Mamig, Memes and Music, I guess, for the Pop Fizz model you saw in the video. Thanks for Phaonix and Phantom Nugget for looking over the script. Thanks to Andreas for help with some of the footage. My next video should be another character-focused video unless something else comes up. Till then, see ya. But that's still like 6 to 7. Fuck. But the memories persist, and it's not like they left blah 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 blah. Fuck.